Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back in action with the man known simply as RYAN118 on Twitter. You've probably seen him many times, and we've already made a video now. We've actually sat and talked about the season, which was quite a fun conversation, some good bits for me, but now we're going to sort of narrow in on the players, because you might have noticed in the last video we didn't really break down in too much detail about this guy or this individual, because we wanted to go ahead and make another video, and that is why we're here today. So me and Ryan's going to sit here and review and rate the Old Firm signings of the season. That's right. So Ryan, how are you feeling, mate? The second time now on the channel, mate. Come a bit out regular, mate. What's going on?
Living rent free.
Living
rent free. No, I nice to be back. Thanks for having me again. I'm looking at the anyway, looking at the list, and I'm like, why am I even here to do this? Because we're just sitting here thinking, what a window.
Oh, what a window, man. This video was sort of put out there as the thing is when we did, because I thought both of us went out and we signed loads of people. It wasn't like a quiet window where we just signed one guy, and I was like, holy crap, there's actually content there. So when I was thinking about doing this video, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't realise it was going to be so one-sided by the end of it. So fair play for you still coming on, mate. Honestly, what a window indeed.
I don't know if I'll make the end of the video, right? No guarantees there, but
I'm sure they'll get you a couple of clips anyway. As long as they get enough, you know what I mean?
I know, exactly. They need summer content.
Oh, mate, you've got to do it. Because this video was sort of born for you making an incredible video that just went I mean, it's still everywhere to this day, mate. Honestly, you're like that song. What was that song? I genuinely can't remember. What's that song? Mr. Brightside. It's always in there. You're just on there all the time, mate. You're always in the tracks. Like, you know what I mean?
I absolutely hate Mr. Brightside. So the thought of people hating me as much as Mr. Brightside just makes me sad. Really sad panda. Really sad. Sad panda, as I always say in the chat. You know me. Sad panda always.
Sad panda always. So we're here. We're going to talk about it. So make sure we get involved in the comments as well and give some rating. So as you're the guest on the channel, you've been nice enough to come on. What Celtic player first would you like us to give a rating for this season?
Oh my, right. So I can either start off with the only positive, really, or two of the positives.
Shane Duffy.
Is that the good one? Is that the good one? No, we'll not start with him. We're not going to start with that bang. Let's start with Elyounoussi. Let's start with Elyounoussi, because that's a nice.
You love that tore us apart many times. Even
I know. Do you know what? I people always bring it up to me, and I'm like, why did I actually say that? Honestly, I think I was just that deep into the rant. I said into the speech that I just stopped functioning completely as to what, because obviously he was a really good player when he played that first season. But I don't know why I said that. I still don't. Even my pals say that to me, or Celtic fans, they're like, why did you say that? I'm like, I don't know. I literally, and people bring up to me, people bring up to me on Twitter all the time, like Rangers fans, like, well, you're so misinformed, like this, that. I'm like, I genuinely can't explain this. It sounds such a cop-out, but I don't know why I said that. There was nothing in my notes. Even when I edited it, I don't know why I kept it. God knows. But Elyounoussi, he's been, you know what, I really like Elyounoussi. I've always liked him. I think he's a really good player. Technically, he's one of the best players I've seen at Celtic in a long time. Okay. The problem this season was it was played in a system for him that just never worked, because we were so set in playing this narrow system for so long. Elyounossi's a left winger.
I was going to ask, what is he? Is he a striker?
He's a left winger. Right. He's a left winger. He's a very modern left winger. You know, he likes to get inside. Okay. He's like inverted in a sense, and an inside forward, maybe, if you like. Instead of being sort of drive at defence and run, he's more get in and try and get through the middle. But Celtic played him actually through the middle, which doesn't work for him. It takes away the best part of his game, and that was really frustrating, because then when he did play on the left wing, that's when we got the absolute best out of him, and that's when Celtic fans would rant and rave about how good he is. But then he'd do that for 2 weeks, and then he'd be back in playing through the middle. And I feel bad for him in that sense. He's someone who I'd love to have back at Celtic. I really would. But I don't know. Obviously, Rangers fans would probably have a different opinion of Elyounoussi.
Right. For me, I always see the Ryan Kent Elyounoussi conversation. That's what always comes up. Probably because they're two of the most attacking wingers, inverted fullbacks, forwards and that coming in there. But for me, I didn't see enough from. Maybe I'm spoiled now because I see Ryan Kent can impact the game going backwards. So I see a lot coming down that side. And for the games that I've seen him like every single minute, and he's never really jumped off the page. But if you're looking at signings, I mean, his goals and assists, was he over 20? Was he got 25 goal contributions?
25, I think it is. He's contributed to this season, something like that. Aye.
I mean, I'm not one of these guys that always puts everything on stats, but that he's still doing a job there. So for me, I didn't really buy into the hype of El Yunusi, but I can understand he's a good player. So what would you give him out of 10 then?
The hype definitely, just talking about hype, the hype definitely died down a bit this year. I think last season there was definitely more surrounding him.
Who would you say was better then? Again, this has gone a wee bit.
This season,
Ryan Kent?
This season, Ryan Kent, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think there's no much of a conversation surrounding that. El Yunusi, if he was played all out in a 4-2-3-1 system on the left every week, I reckon El Yunusi could have won that conversation, but he wasn't, and I feel bad for him. But there's no much that we can do about it. The season's done, and Kent's had his victory, and El Yunusi sat doing this. So, out of 10, El Yunusi, I'd feel too generous if I gave him any more than a 6. I'll give him a 6. I'll go for that. I think that he's been good, he's been reliable, he's scored goals, and he's really been someone who can make the best out of a bad game. But there's been so many times this season where, because he's been playing that bad system, we can't always just put it down to the system he's playing, because he can adapt. He's still a top player.
You've got to go in there. You've got to grab your opportunities.
Aye. There's still been times he has been disappointing. So I'll go for a 6. I think that's fair for Yunusi, I think.
Well, mate, once again, you're showing you're the only guy over your side of the camp that actually speaks sense, because I thought you were coming here with a 7 or an 8 and I was going to have to laugh at you. Right, I really thought you were going to go high there. For me, I've been kind of toiling between a 5 and ironically a 5.5, and that's not me being like joking, because I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I can go ahead and give him a 6, because every time I've watched him, I just look at him and I'm like, he's doing this, he's this.
To be fair, he's been quiet against Rangers, hasn't he?
He scored that one header, but that was mostly down to Edouard doing a good cross into the box, in my opinion. But for there, I know he had a shot that was wonderfully saved by Alan McGregor. Maybe that could have made a headline, but I just didn't see enough from it that impacts the game. And again, my lasting memory, because of the conversations of Ryan Kent or El Yunusi, is 86th minute, he got subbed off in a loss. And in the 87th minute, from that throw-in, Ryan Kent runs from one side of the park all the way back, puts a slide challenge in. So that's kind of where I'm seeing that. So I'm spoiled. But again, this is about El Yunusi. It's not about Mr. Kent. So I'm going to give him a 5, Ryan. And I'm giving him mostly a 5 because of the goal. Yeah.
It's not far off a 6, to be fair. I think he's definitely he's a player who he's got the ability to change a game. I think this year I think along with the rest of the squad was too guilty of going missing at points. And people, especially, like, this is me being really nice, because see if you're asking especially older elements of the Celtic support, they wouldn't say as many good things as I would.
And no fan, no. I'm just basically doing it because of the goals and the... Did he not get a hat-trick this season in that as well?
Yeah, he did.
Is that right?
I can't remember who it was against now. Can't remember. I did, definitely did.
So spoiler alert, 5 might be the highest I've gone in this video. Just
I hope no, I've got one of the. We'll wait and see when we come on to something else.
We will wait and see. I'll tell you that now.
I've got Shane Duffy coming up soon.
To be fair, he gets a 55 out of 10, not a 5.5. But anyway, we'll move on to the next one, and you kind of went with an attacking winger there. I'll go for an attacker as well then. And somebody that's been playing on the right-hand side for Rangers, and that is going to be Kemar Roofe, one of the most exciting transfers that we brought in, because everyone knows I'm from Leeds. We had saw the stuff and know how good he was. Obviously went to Anderlecht and had a wee bit of a time there with injuries and maybe settling and everything. You heard that, but there was questions even though he was coming here saying, come on, Roofe, I'm not doing nothing here, but he got 18 goals and 3 assists in 36 games in all competition. That's his first season, and considering the fact that he came in here and he was injured and then he had to get fit, and then he ended up picking a knock again. Big goals, big moments. For me, he was absolutely brilliant. What was your thoughts on Kemar Roofe coming here?
I thought a really good player. We spoke about him very briefly, I think, in the last video.
Yeah.
I brought him up and I was saying how, signings like him, who at first I didn't look too much into, turned out to be really good signings for different reasons, and depth is especially one of those reasons.
Yeah.
He's been really good for Rangers in that sense. He's been able to dive in and out the team and do different things. I thought he's been good. He scores goals, can make goals.
Scored the best goal that I've probably ever seen.
I literally was about to say he scored one of the best goals of the season against who was it against again? It was Stanley Liège. Yeah, good season. I thought he was quite good.
I could just,
quite good.
yeah, it's brilliant. Fucking
It's
right.
quite good. Aye.
So I'm actually going to give Kemar Roofe, because I kind of briefly touched on this when we got the halfway point, and again, that's when he was starting to come on, because I thought November and December, that's when we saw the best of Kemar Roofe. Then he obviously came good right at the very end, but there was a couple of wee hit and miss moments. But I thought his 2 finishes against Celtic were absolutely superb, and I'm very happy with that. I get to mention it. I mean, he scored with his nipples. Do you know what I mean? He just threw it. I was actually quite annoyed because I think you said or something, oh, it's just hit off him. But I genuinely think that is pure technique and that's pure skill.
I've seen a few people comment on my video about that. They're like, oh, it wasn't just a deflection. That was good thinking and all that. I was like, well, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I'm just going to go under the impression that it was a deflection from now.
Nah, honestly, Balotelli scoring that, it's clipped everywhere, mate. All right, it's everywhere. And then obviously with the head on that as well. So I like him. He can play out right. He can play up the forward. But I'm very excited about what Gerrard clicked on to maybe the last couple of weeks, and that's putting Morelos and him up front as a 2 and allowing Ryan Kent to freedom. That excites me. See if that's going to continue next season. I can see a lot of goals coming for Kemar. But coming here, no fit, needing to build himself up, no played for a while. I'm actually going to give him a very, very strong 8.
8? Oh, fuck that's high, that. Aye.
I'm giving him an 8. I know there was a couple of months where he was disappointing and sometimes infuriating, but for me, you saw enough. And considering what he'd done in the goals, 18 goals, you know what I mean? That's no bad, especially when you're playing out in the right.
The goals part is the part that obviously means the most for the forwards. You know, you want a forward who comes in and scores goals. I'm going to give him a 7.
All right, okay.
Which I think is fair enough.
Only 1 point higher than El Yunusi.
The only reason that I probably wouldn't go higher than a 7 is, as you already said. I remember there was a couple of months, because we spoke about it in TSF. There's a couple of months where he was that little bit frustrating, but you know, the end result was the figures of the goals he got. So. 7. I think 7's fair. I'll go with that.
You've taught your ass. But anyway, let's move on.
Just you wait.
Oh, cool. No, right. Who are we going to next?
Shane Duffy, mate.
Oh my God, you're bringing out the big guns.
Just bringing out the big guns, mate. Best defender.
There's only one Shane Duffy. When he was drinking the pints and not celebrating, he was here for 10 in a row, wasn't he?
Had the snout out in Dubai. He was enjoying himself. I had to be snouting to buy a 40. Do you remember? Did you never see the 40 of him?
Oh, I saw plenty of 40.
Standing in the swimming pool, and he's got like the snout he's with, and it's just like, what is going on?
Herwig is a phenomenal, not just by you, by the way, but by the media. We were told this guy was here to run the show, but the guy couldn't run at all. Genuinely, couldn't he? Slow, lethargic, terrible. Can't he distribute the ball? Can he do the ball? That's probably what he was good at. But when actually to dictate a game, nah.
I think he was misunderstood, mate. I think that you're truly looking at one of the country's best ever centre halves. That's what you're saying. Try to get clipped. No, in all seriousness, what a disaster of a signing. And the worst part is, do you know what annoys me? Do you know what annoys me? Like, see the bit that is clipped of me. See if that was before he had. So we made that video after his first 2 games. If we made that video, and he scored 2 games in a row, back to back, first 2 games for Celtic scored. Yep, and he was fine at the back. There was one moment. He scored against Ross County and he scored against... Oh, who was the other one? He scored back-to-back, though. I can't remember the other team now. It slipped my mind. So we made that video after those 2 games, and I was sold. I was like, this is it. This is the Messiah right here. If we made that video before those 2 games, I would never have went in as much as I did and said he was the best. I want to talk as little about Shane Duffy as possible, and I'm going to rate him a 1.
A 1? Wow!
Aye.
He's number 1 in our hearts, isn't he?
No, dear Christ almighty.
I just, for me, it's a perfect example, and I'm not even just looking from a Rangers perspective, but it's a perfect example of people from down south thinking they come up here and they can stroll it. I mean, he's drinking pints, he's celebrating, he's in the pub laughing and joking coming up here. It's the kind of same when Joey Barton came up here, he's way punting his book and everything like that. I think you've got to come and adjust to this league, get up here early, work your arse off, because it's different. Yes, we've not got the millions and blah, 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 but you've got to come here. It's a different standard of football. And I think Shane Duffy was asked to do more than just header the ball and part the bus like he was a lot of the time at Brighton. But I thought he had a good partnership at Brighton. I spoke about that in previous videos when I was even talking about when we signed Leon Balogun and when we signed Goldson. I was like, they're the defenders that's in and around it. But by God, was he just hilariously terrible. And I mean, in every single game, it was relentless. I can't even remember him scoring 2 goals. See, if you'd have told me that, I went, are they on goals? It was just every... I'm sitting going like this. Someone, he's getting chipped.
comical at points, and I feel
Yeah.
bad because I know he had a tough time with it since coming up, and it's hard to adapt sometimes. But he was just way just out of his league, and it's like, yeah, you're saying it's like almost remember when like Joey Barton came up. He's the most recent example I can think of.
Yeah.
Joey Barton came up, the exact same thing happened. It was I've got to stroll it. It was in the paper saying this, that, next thing. The exact same thing happened with Duffy, I think, with the fanfare that surrounded him, and it was that made the kind of downfall even worse, because of all that fanfare that was there. I think if we managed to avoid that, I think it would just be looked at as just a regular dud, but it was like enhanced because of all that.
Yeah, he was told he was coming up here and do this. We're actually going to speak about another defender where just after this one in a second who I actually thought had the impact that the paper was talking up for Duffy, but I can't argue with you, mate. I'd actually give him a 0 if I didn't absolutely love the boy for what he came out there and done this season. Loved him.
So you got it. What, you got to give him a 10 or something?
10. Damn right I'm putting a 1-0 in there, mate. Honestly, I'm giving him a 10 because he didn't get one coming up here. You know what I'm saying? I'm being nice to the boy. There we go. Shane Duffy. Love it. Right, moving on. And I want to kind of perfect transition. And I wanted to transition because Leon Balogun, like I just said there, came in here with no fanfare. I talked him up my video. And said, you just... well, you heard that famous clip. But in my video, I talked him up very excitedly, saying he's good on the ball. He's got a wee bit of magic in him, Magic Bagheera, where he likes to get on the ball and dominate. That's what we needed. But people are saying, you're just talking about he's never going to play. And he came up here. And for me, he had the impact the papers talked about Duffy. He was dominant. And his first game was away at Aberdeen. He got man of the match. And he got knocked himself out on the post in about the 55th minute of the game. And he still got up and played on the rest of the game. You know what's going. But so I think for the first minute, he was absolutely outstanding for free as well.
I know it's crazy that you can get a player of quality without having to pay them $50,000 a week. You know, it's
almost like if the Irish isn't the only criteria that's needed, Brian. You know what I mean? You need to go out there. You need to expand your horizons, mate.
Look, yeah, Balogun was that first game. I remember watching. I remember saying, I hear looked quite decent the day after me getting at the whole. He was somebody who, once reliable was the word that came to my mind when I seen Balogun play, and I looked at him play for Rangers. He looked reliable, and I never looked at him as a player who was like extraordinary or anything, but it was like you were going to get consistently a decent enough performance, and that's what I think of when I see his name on a team sheet or when we talk about him in a situation like this.
I think when you consider the fact as well, he was swapping duties a lot with Lander, because coming in and out of a team can actually affect people negatively and take you off the boil, but it just worked so perfectly in his partnership. He was so quick. He was vital in Europe as well in some of the games he played because of his pace, and I just thought he was steady, consistent, whatever we asked him to do. Even playing it right back he had a bad game versus Hughes, but that's just after coming back for an injury himself, and he's put it right back because we had nobody else.
That's right, I forgot about that. I forgot he was playing it right back against us.
He played right back, and then young Patterson came on and absolutely ran the show in the second half. But that is the one performance that I can look at and say it wasn't great. But again, his hands were tied behind his back. He's a centre half. You know what I mean? He's getting played out of position. So for me, steady and consistent. But I'll let you give the rating first before I go and give it.
You're letting me give the rating first. Oh,
I'll let you give it.
Dear. Right, okay. I'm going to go with...
can I just say, by the way, before you finish, he played 28 games and was a part of 16 clean sheets.
That's a decent record, isn't it?
It's a wee bit.
That's hard because do you know what? I'm in a horrid situation now where I'm stuck between two numbers, right? If I was to go and give him a 7, I'm going to get all that. I'm getting all the Celtic fans going, "Are you saying that he's better than El Yunusi?" But then if I give him a 6, I'm going to get Rangers fans going like, "Oh, you're saying." So there's a really hard line balance to get there. 6 is going to be my standard for being good enough this season, so I'm going to go for another 6 because I think just like El Yunusi, when he was playing in his right position and when he was playing his best, was always reliable and consistent and gave you what you needed. Just like, I know not two completely different positions, but just like Balogun. Whereas I think with the 7 that I gave out to, who was the 7 I gave out to again? Who we talked about first for Rangers? I forgot Kemar Roofe. I think Roofe. The guy that might have scored 2 goals against you. I think Roofe has been a better signing than what Balogun has. So 6, I think, is fair. I'm not going to give him the same as Roofe because I think Roofe's been better.
All right. I mean, I can understand what you're saying there, but for me, I'm actually going to give kind of unbelievable the exact same rating because where Kemar Roofe had a couple of games and a couple of wee weeks here or there where it kind of dropped lower, I've never seen it drop lower, apart from that one game we talked about where again he was played out of position for free as well. I think you've got to take that into consideration. Not a penny, no fanfare, no nothing.
If you're throwing that in, if you're throwing in the price tag, then I'd probably move him up, but I'll keep him at 6. I'm trying not to consider price tags at the minute. That's the last thing I want to think of it.
That's fair. And let's say he's played enough games, 28 games, and been a part of this record-breaking Rangers side defensively that's broke pretty much every defensive record. So you've got to give him a lot of that. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 as well. Maybe a wee bit harsh that I'm not going any higher than that, if I'm honest with you. But again, I think the performances and how good Rangers look with Hollander as well maybe takes the shine off just enough. So I think an 8 is very, very solid.
I can't believe you've gave Balogun an 8 and you've given El Yunusi a 5.
Mate, are you serious?
5.
I wouldn't even know who El Yunusi was if you didn't tweet him out all the time.
Mohammed hell of a pussy. That's his name. That's his name.
Is it? He is. Certainly as a pussy. Always hides whenever Rangers comes around. He always hides. Always hides.
Moving on.
Right, your turn now, mate.
I can either go just get it. No, do you know what? I'm going to go to my favourite player ever. I'm going to go into my man, my guy. I'm going to go into Vasilis Barkas. What a keeper, mate. What an absolute player. Champions League quality goalkeeper.
Yep, yes.
I feel so bad for Barkas. It's unbelievable. I feel so bad for him. And I'm telling you, one day we'll see it, hopefully. One day. But this year it didn't work. I mean, I don't even know how many official... I should have jotted this down in my notes, actually. I don't know how many starts he actually got. Of course, he got a couple of chances at the end of the season there while Bain was out injured. He started the season, fell out the team, came back in. He is, and I will stick to this, I've been saying it all season, the most bizarrely managed player in the most recent memory I can imagine at Celtic ever. In recent memory, I can't think. You bring in a number one keeper for £5-6 million, and you play him at like twice, and then you drop him, and you bring him back in, and then you.
Has he ever made a save, Ryan?
He's made a couple. Aye, he has.
The voice went really high there, mate.
He's made a couple. Like David always gives me. It's like, has he made a save yet? And I'm like, away you go. I made one really good save against Ross County way back at the start of the season. I made a save at the last couple of games there too. But no, I feel obviously I can't sit here and say Barkas has been good or Barkas this and next thing. I do feel bad for him. I really do, because he's came over at the most difficult time and it's not worked out. And I'm hoping it does one day for him. But if you're just generally rating him on this season, he's been better than Duffy. He's certainly been better than Duffy. But I feel bad. Like I feel like some of the abuse gets exaggerated towards him. I really do, even though he has been like bad. But like I feel like sometimes I feel like the media headhunt him. You know what I mean?
Well, I've said a couple of times he's like a plastic bag with gloves on it. Like anything that gets fired, he's like, I can remember, see when me bet yous with having a shot on target in the game in January. He felt that like I kind of hit unluckily off McGregor's arm. It was brilliant, like people's elbow. But anyway, see when he flicked that air, see your goalkeeper, he jumped, he dived up the way. I've never ever seen that before. I didn't understand. That's my last memory. So whenever somebody mentions Barker, because I think if he dives, that he's actually going to get to that, Ryan, but he dives up the way, and I'm like, I think it just happens so quickly, and he's just like, oh god, like he's not got the confidence in it to pull off that. Even the first goal for Goldson in the first one, I think, maybe I think we're agreeing McGregor's going to save that every day. McGregor throw a cap on that. Genuinely.
But it's like it's crazy because people like refuse to believe me when I say like deep down there is a good keeper. There's like he showed that before he came to Celtic.
I think he's like, a great goalkeeper, Ryan.
Like before he came to Celtic, some of the stuff you see, you're like, okay, great keeper, but it's just not worked out at all. It's been a bit of a humiliating signing. But who knows? Maybe he'll turn it around. As for this season, I'll go ahead and give him like a 2.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. But see, I think when you get replaced, was he not replaced by Hazard as well? Like the third choice goalkeeper as well?
He was replaced with Bain, and then Bain was replaced with Hazard. Terrible. And then Bain was replaced with Hazard. And then Hazard was replaced with Bain again. And then it's just been an absolute farce, mate. It's embarrassing.
So you never know, right? It could be one of those things where he could come if he gets consistent game time. But for what I've seen, especially the Rangers Celtic games and that, the Goldson one, I thought he was a shock. I was glad that he never got to it. But when you look at it back, I think you're looking at the one where McGregor, with his people elbow move, finished that one and jumping up and down. I don't know what I can rate him, Ryan, fairly, honestly. I think if I wasn't joking on anything like that, I would genuinely give him a 1.
I won.
I would give him 1 because
the reason I give him 2 is because he made 1 decent save.
Is that not worrying, Ryan, that you've got a goalkeeper and you can only think of 1 save? Like you're praising him for 1 save. McGregor has 1 good save a game.
1 good save every fucking 20 minutes, man.
Unbelievable.
No,
Can I just ask you one question as well?
Go on.
McGregor or Barkas? Didn't even pause, mate.
It's a tough one.
I'm talking about Alan McGregor here, no Callum. I know Callum showed good hands with that finish, but
no, it's a real tough question. I think Barkas on his day, maybe he gives him a shot, maybe.
A wee bit of allegiance, but I'll give you that, mate. Right, we move to one goalkeeper there, was brought in for a lot of money. But let's talk about another goalkeeper then for Rangers. That kind of gives us the perfect sort of mirror with this, because John McLaughlin actually came in to this again with no too much obviously let Fords go.
I don't know why in my head there I thought you were going to turn around and say like Andy Fuff for some reason. I don't know why. Like
Fuffy's here all the time,
I was like, what? Right, on you go.
So John McLaughlin came in again when Fords left, Anik left, everything like that, and people saying, "Oh, was he going to play too much?" But for anyone, I mean, we were doing the show at this point. We talked up McLaughlin a lot when he was at Hearts. He was a brilliant goalkeeper for Hearts, and one of the games where he was actually really pissing me off, I can remember talking this. I was like, I hate this guy because he just makes saves all the time versus Rangers. And when he came up, I was like, Christ, this is exciting. And then people forget at the start of the season, McGregor was hurt. So it was McLaughlin that set the tone for the majority of the start of your season, and 13 clean sheets in 15 games. I think he's got over 87% save accuracy. One of the goals he conceded was a penalty. I know he was an offside goal versus Hibs. It's frightening when you consider that as your backup goalkeeper. You go out there, put that again for free. Another brilliant needed signing. They can come in, Disney complain, Disney ruffle feathers, Disney shrink of that if he's no given games. Just professional, ultimate professional. For me, that's what you're needing for a backup goalkeeper. That could arguably be the number 1. And I think every club, especially when you look at Barkas, the way he's playing now.
Yeah, so I went back and looked at my team of the season video from the year Celtic won the double treble. So that would have been 17-18. And do you not remember it now? What about the one before?
No.
But I went back and looked at my team of the season video for that year, and I had McLaughlin as my keeper. I forgot how good he was when he was at Hearts. He was really good. We all used to rant and rave about him. And yeah, he's been solid this season for Hearts. For Rangers. Whenever he's been for the Hearts, they're the championship. But whenever he's been given the nod, he's been useful. And right at the start of the season, remember, he was very important and then keeping, that kind of Rangers defence, keep the clean sheets in there for the defence. So, I would say McLaughlin's had a solid year. He deserves a decent enough rating, I'd say. But I'll let you go first this time.
Again, he set the tone for Rangers, got us, and he made a couple of good saves as well. It wasn't as if he was sitting back there with a deck chair. There was a couple of times where he had to make a big save, corner earlier in the season and all as well. Ross County had a very good save. So I think, again, for free, I'm actually going to give him more than El Yunusi. That's probably going to piss everybody off, but I'm going to give him a 6.
6?
I think a 6 because, again, McGregor won Player of the Year. He's won pretty much everything you can win this year. Won his Player of the Year. He was absolutely incredible. So I think McLaughlin is getting forgotten about because of how good McGregor was. But if you needed McLaughlin in a certain game, he was there. So for me, I think I'd give him 6, maybe even a 7, actually, if I think about it.
These rating videos are always quite annoying because we spoke about this before we came on. Like, people expect like 10s and 9s and that to be thrown out willy-nilly. Like, right, boom. I think people expect 9 and 10s to be just thrown out willy-nilly. Like, a 6 isn't bad. Like, I think a 6 is a staple of a good, consistent player. Which is why I'm going to go for. Do you know what? I'm going to go 5.5.
Hey, that's what I'm going to go you stodge man.
I'm going to go 5.6 then. 5.6.
For next season. I like it, mate. Honestly, welcome aboard.
I'm digging myself a hole here. Because he's been really good. I've always rated McLaughlin. Even when I went Sunderland, that's a good signing for Sunderland. The only reason I'm not going to go higher is because people like Balogun, people like El Yunusi have had to do a lot more than him, of course. And I'm not saying he's sat in a deck chair all season, but when you think of the big saves, they've been McGregor's. McLaughlin's still been very good and very important. Good season. But I'll go for 5. I'll go for 5.5. Yes, I'll go for that. There you go.
Love that, mate. Love that. And again, I'm giving that rating just based on what Ryan's saying there, but given the body work they actually went ahead and played. But moving on then. Where are we going next, mate? Where are we going next?
I'm trying to just get all the bad ones out the way. Do you even know this guy?
We'll be here
do you know this guy, Albian Ajeti? Do you know him?
Is that boy everyone says was incredible? Is that not the guy you signed instead of Ivan Toney?
Don't remind me
is that him?
Now. Yes,
Mr. Premier League Ivan Toney, 42 goal contributions this season. Is that him?
Oh, can we? Right, but Albian a Yeti. What a start he had! I was convinced he was going to end in like a 20 goal season. He scored 6 goals in his first 5 or 6 games. And I was like, wow, and I was buzzing because I was really like, if you go back and watch like the transfer talk videos at the time, I was really pushing for us to sign a Yeti because I knew he'd done big things over in Switzerland.
He went to West Ham. Is that the right boy?
So he went from FC Basel and he went over to West Ham.
Yeah,
and when he was at West Ham, he never got a chance really. I don't think David Moyes took to him when he came in, so he never really got into the team. So he came to Celtic and I was really pushing for it. I was like, he's done really well at Basel, really well, and you come to Celtic, we'll get that same sort of impact. And we did initially. Initially, he was the kind of striker who was perfect to have, maybe not necessarily beside Edouard on the pitch, but to have as an alternate to Edouard. Edouard was a player who very much liked to have the ball and dribble with the ball and do different things. Whereas a Yeti came in and scored 5 or 6 goals straight away, which were striker's goals. They were, ball in the box, tap in, stuff like that. All these kind of on the end of loose balls and stuff like that. He was there and he was doing them. He scored a winner against United. Chris Boyd finishes, I feel like. We'll get that for you. He very much had that, which we didn't really have because Griffiths wasn't getting a game. So I was like, you know what? I'm very happy with it. I was like, you know what? I'm happy with this. But then it just went down and down and down. I don't think
has he ever played against us? Has he ever played against Rangers?
I think he came on.
He was subbed on one game.
Subbed on in the first one. Subbed on in the first one, and he might have actually got subbed on in the New Year one as well, but I'm not too sure. But definitely got subbed on in the first one. But when the goals dried up, it was clear to see he wasn't fit, and I don't think he ever got himself fit.
Attitude problem.
That was a real, and it might be there's been murmurs of maybe attitude problems with a Yeti, but nothing's been concrete said. He's someone who, once again, I hope will come through and we get something from him, especially for the price that we paid.
You spent money for him, man.
£5 million as well, man. Like, that's big fees.
What a window!
Yeah, it just never really worked out so far. And I just hope that we could get a manager who gets him in shape and gets him ready to play. But he looked a big boy, man. You could see it in him. He was carrying that bit of extra weight, and he just never got back into the team. Like, once he was out, he never got back in. 10 minutes here and there, but that was it. And that's not enough for a football player, as you know.
Yeah, it definitely isn't, mate. We're kind of having me back for. I do know who Ajeti is, or is it Ajeti?
Right. Ajeti.
Is that something for Star Wars? There's on pictures.
I'll weigh you.
No, but obviously that was the guy that was originally booked for diving and it got overturned and everything like that for one of the games. Aye, that's right. I remember checking in on that and thinking he's dived.
I think I was against Ross County. If I remember right.
Aye, it was one of them. It was definitely dived. But anyway, so again, he started off hot, and I remember because he started banging in some goals, and obviously we were doing the fantasy team and everything like that. And Div was like, Jesus, this guy's scoring a lot of goals, and I always didn't have Celtic players because that's the kind of. But I won this season, all right, Div. Question me now. Question me. But he was saying, "Oh, he's scoring goals. I might need to pick him up." And then it actually turned out. So the goals dried up. I don't know how many appearances he ended up notching. I know he played a couple of wee moments. Didn't do anything. I thought he was manhandled whenever he did come on. Didn't look interested when he was subbed on in some of the games as well. So I don't know what you're going to go with rating this one, Ryan, but it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
If you're based it off the first 6 games, it was a 10. But then if you're based it off, if you're based it off the entire season, yeah, I'd struggle to give him more. I gave Barkas a 2. I'll give a Yeti a 3 because he actually did get 6 goals, which is probably more than I think it's. I don't know if it's more than Griffiths. It probably isn't. But I'll go for a 3 for now. I'll go for a 3.
Well, it's a bit of an interesting one because 6 goals is actually going to be another striker that we're going to speak about in another couple of minutes for Rangers, and ironically, they came for the same side of the world, but it's 2 different factors, and I think the fact he did fall away, and again, Celtic playing so poorly, and that's why I'm looking at these players, and we mentioned El Yurus and everything like that. You're expecting these players to step up, grab games by the scruff of the neck, saying, doesn't matter where I'm playing this, I'll go out there and do a job. When you get subbed on, you're supposed to grab games and prove why you deserve starts, and you never saw it, so I don't know, mate. 2 because he scored a couple goals, but again, it's kind of the problem with Celtic. Lack of discipline, lack of effort, lack of togetherness with the squad. Unfit, no ball up, can't be arsed.
Yep. spot on.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree.
Right. So let's transition into that again. I'm kind of like sort of balancing everything right back here. It's kind of a nice flow this one, but we're going to go with the big Swede on our side of things. Big Cedric Itten, who a lot of people knows.
Swede.
Did I say Swede there?
You said Swede. Swiss. I was like, what?
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the best Swedish player ever played in your game, Philip Hollander. So I was talking about Cedric Itten there, the Swiss man himself. He came up here and everyone knew where he was going to fit in. He was going to be that third striker that if we need to come into a game, he's big, he's powerful, and he can offer something different, because in the seasons before, whenever plan A or plan B didn't work, we didn't have a plan C, and that is what this signing was. Young, obviously, still got like time, still managed to play 38 games, but the majority of them was last 10 minutes. I mean, I started calling him the closer, Ryan, on my channel, because whenever it was 1-0, Kemar 1-0, Hibs, blah, 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 we brought Cedric Itten in, and all we did was hit the ball up to him, he'd bring it down, and then he would kill the clock, and he was brilliant at that. But again, you're going to judge strikers on goals and everything like that, even though it does feel a little bit harsh because that wasn't necessarily the job. But brilliant goal in Europe, 6 goals and 3 assists at the 38 games he played. But I think he only started like three games in total all season long, because that's not really what he was brought in for.
The thing is, the difference is he definitely, so he scored the same amount of goals as Ajeti. So obviously, if I'm basing it off that, I could easily say Etten's a free. The thing is about Itten wasn't brought in for £5 million meant to be the starting striker. You know, Ajeti was pretty much brought in to be
instead of Tony.
In case Edouard left as well. Like if Edouard left, Ajeti was meant to be like our starting striker if Edouard goes. Edouard didn't go in the end. Obviously, we kept him, but even at that, he was meant to be kind of fitted into being that next Edouard. And Itten was never that. So you know, you can certainly be a bit more generous, a bit more kind of lenient towards Itten. Etten's someone who I didn't get to see an awful lot of, apart from the Europa League games I've seen him, because obviously when the group stages were on, you'd watch like Celtic Rangers and then Rangers and Celtic. I'd sit and watch the whole day. I'd watch all the games. So that's when I got to see him most, and I think there's certainly positives to his game for as little as he's had to feature. I mean, he's done pretty much what he was brought in to do to an extent.
Literally is, That's why he was brought into the football club, to give us that option to see games out, big body, bring it in. And you talk about in Europe, and he scored a fantastic goal in one of the rare games he was started as well versus Let. He turned them and rifled it into the net. So this is going to be an interesting rating, and I think based on your free, I want to hand it to you first because I want to see where you're going with this one.
I'll go for, because he's actually kept himself fit and available. So
apparently he's great in dressing room.
Automatically deserves more than a 3. I gave 5.5 to John McLaughlin. I'm going to go for a 5 for Itten. I'll go for a 5.
I mean, well, we're actually going to match perfectly there, mate. That's exactly what I'm going to give.
You gave him as well.
Because I just felt there was a couple of games, and I think when you look at when he did get a start, did he really do enough to grab it? But again, I didn't think he's there yet to be that guy, to grab a mantle for Morelos, grab a mantle for Kemar. He's not there yet, but he wasn't supposed to be. He's that guy. You come in there, do a job, and for me, he done it. The closer, won us massive points by getting in the corner, was a threat, done his job. So I think a very solid 5. I want to see more for him in terms of putting the ball in the back of net, obviously, and getting. But again, good debut first season, came in, done his job.
I want that from both the Swiss strikers. I don't want it from both. I want it from Yeti, and that's it. Want it from mine. But anyway, next player, move on to another one that I don't even want to speak about. He's well known for his Twitch streams and well known for announcing that Eddie Howe was meeting the team tomorrow. That is Diego Laxalt. Jesus.
What the left back for AC Milan, one of the top 5 fullbacks in the world, Ryan?
Yeah, see, did somebody say that?
Yeah, that was top 10, I think. Top 10 fullbacks.
Jesus, Johnny.
Yeah.
I know he was in the World Cup team of the tournament. Back
Uruguay.
In 2014. Was it 2014?
That's Uruguay, isn't it?
Uruguay.
No,
was it 24? I think it was 20. I don't know, whatever one. It was in the World Cup team of the tournament anyway. Yep. Yeah. I wasn't mad. I wasn't overly buzzing. The main thing I was buzzing about is that we had a left back coming in, because we needed one. We really did need a left back. So any left back was fine by me. His first game was obviously Rangers. The first, and he looked decent enough. I think it was positives there. The real highlight of Laxalt's time was that European game, his European debut, which he was scarily good in. And that set up everybody for just false dawns. Like, we thought we generally had, we honestly thought, what a fullback we've picked up here. Because he wasn't bad against Rangers in the first derby. He was bad in some of the other ones. It was really bad.
Joe Rebo took him a walk, bad, didn't he?
Yep. The first one, he wasn't bad. I was like, do you know what? For a first performance, I know we got beat. I was like, first performance, not the worst I've ever seen. Getting thrown into a derby in your first game. But when he played that first game in Europe, I was like, oh my God, what a player. This is going to be brilliant. He rarely hit those heights ever again. If I get 2 maybe good games after that Liu game.
He can't cross the ball. It's weird.
Nah, he cannot. None of our fullbacks can. Even Frimpong before he left couldn't really get a good cross in.
It's so weird seeing Barisic on one side and Tavernier. I'm so used to the ball getting in there. So whenever, like, even when I was doing this video and everything, like, I wanted to try and look at the players and I'm like, how many times does he get in a position and absolutely whiff a cross? That absolutely drove me mental.
He likes hitting the first man. You know, the first man seems to be his favourite thing to do. I'm glad that he's gone back to AC. There was a point where people were like, we should sign Laxalt next season. I'm like, no.
Well, for a hairdresser?
No. Hairdresser. Wouldn't like him being my hairdresser, I'll tell you that for him. But nah, for me, he's another one who's just down there as one of the worst. We'll probably see. A lot of people think I've been harsh on him, but if you've watched my channel enough, you know that I've never really been huge on him. There was a couple of games where I ranted and raved. I was like, if he plays like that, he could do well. But over the course of the full season, I've never really been overly full of praise for him.
I remember his first game versus Rangers, and it was the game obviously we won and everything, like, quite comfortably, and we kind of dominated, but he was at least putting himself about, and I think that was the first game he had played for, I don't know, 2 months or something. So I actually remember I was saying to Tiff, I was like, oh, they might have a wee player there. They're like, no, anywhere to like Barisic or anything like that. I says, he might be a solid player for them coming in there and doing a job. But then the memes started. The amount of tackles that he put in Europe, never been done, and then it just snowballed from there, and it just became sort of a laughing stock, if I'm honest with you. Just cutting about, just getting manhandled out there. His Twitch streams were brilliant. Again, did he not get subbed off at half time in that game where Joe Rebo was absolutely, and I mean, destroying him? No ifs, ways about it. It wasn't one time. Every time Joe Rebo got it, he was literally brushing him off like he wasn't there.
One of the worst fullback performances I've ever seen in my life.
Genuinely. And I saw Hodson, mate. Do you know what I mean? I know about bad fullbacks, but I've seen them.
Yep.
And I looked at that and I was like, what is that?
It was very, very poor. Very, very poor.
I don't know if he scored any. In fact, did he not score a goal? He
scored the last minute equaliser against Hibs, which, looking back on, I wish he didn't actually score, because if we lost the game, it might have put a bit more heat on Neil Lennon. So it's quite annoying.
I'm not sure if he's an assister or anything like that. So what rate are you going?
Well, I'm trying to. Duffy, I gave. What did I give Duffy? A 1. I gave Duffy a 1. I gave Barkas a 2 and a Yeti a 3. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and again give him a 3. I'll go for a 3 for Laxalt. That's what I'll give.
A solid 3 there again. Maybe I'm just looking at it for a different side. Again, I'm not just sitting here being all arrogant, but I'm seeing fullbacks that can put output, that can get in there, that can make things happen, put a ball in that can change a game if it's 0-0, because it isn't all great performances every single week. And we've not had that. We've had to narrowly win 1-0, blah, blah, blah. But again, our fullbacks were always there to put balls in, and I never saw anything from him at all. And I don't know how he's earned a move to AC Milan. Maybe his career's just completely fell off. And from being in obviously the team, maybe it couldn't be asked. I guarantee
he goes on to have an amazing season next year. And
maybe it was a spotlight.
I just know it. I just know next year's going to be class, and we're going to be like, oh, just our luck.
No, always is, mate. So I'm going to give him a 2.
2. Wouldn't grudge you for giving him a 2, to be honest.
2, mate. I'll go with 2. Right. Moving on to, again, I'm going to jump on the back. Huge kind of transition to a fullback then. And it's going to be Calvin Bassey. And this one for me is very hard to rate, because, again, he wasn't expected to play at all, right? So this one I think is going to be extremely short for Bayfields. You did do that. Obviously, he came for Leicester, and if I'm honest with you, he put in a couple of performances off the bench, being able to rest and rotate Barisic for Europe, and that made me go, holy crap, big Larry, physical, but you can see he's so damn right. He's not ready to play week in and week out. And I mean, he made his debut in his professional debut versus Motherwell, and it was a brilliant performance. I mean, that's a tough place to go, Fir Park. We ended up winning that game, absolutely pumping them viciously in that game. And I was like, oh, but again, he's not really supposed to play. It was give Barisic 10, 15 minutes rest here and there. So I don't know what you're really going to say. I know he obviously had the COVID stuff and all that, and that's what people kind of maybe remember most about him. But again, in terms of footballing sense, he came in and was solid, but nothing spectacular. But you're not really expecting that from him yet.
Yeah, I feel harsh about the rating I'll probably give it, because he's only played, it's about 15 times or something I think he's played, and out of those 15, how many do you honestly think I've sat down and got to see as well? Like, I
don't think you saw the performance versus Mother. I gotta be honest.
There's like, from what I have seen of him, I remember a few times looking at him and going, he looks like a donkey. I was like, he looks like a bit of a donkey. I was like, don't know if he's going to be that great. But he's a young guy who was not brought in to be in the limelight or be starting every week. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's going to sound harsh, whatever I give him, but I mean, it's just what I've got to work with is not a great deal. So, there you go.
What are you giving him?
I'm going to give him a 3 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I'll just give him, I don't know, 3.5.
I'll give him a 10. 10. I'll give him a 10.
So again, this one's very hard to rate. I'm excited to see his future, and I think he's going to certainly got the physical attributes. He's big, he's strong.
This is like one of these players who genuinely in 2 years' time you could look back on and go, "What?" I said, you could go either way, of course, but you could look back a couple of years ago. What I said, he's a young guy. Quite a lot ahead of him, so you never know.
And the fact that he has made that mistake and everything like the protocols and all that, and I think the fact that Gerrard trusts him and has also brought him back in is a testament to his character and how hard he's worked, because we saw George Edmondson, Jordan Jones, blah, 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 how they got moved, but they were given opportunities to these young laddies, and that could be the learning experience to screw his nut in. Apparently, he's very good in the dressing room as well, so excited to see what he brings, but again, none. Oh my God, but it's not expected to be.
Aye.
Right?
Very fair. Well, I'm talking about, oh my God, let's move on to another fullback, which is the last negative one of the Celtic side of things, and that's Jonjoe Kenny.
What a player.
Yeah,
you better give him a better rating right now. Honestly, he's assisted 2 goals. And in fact, now he's got an assist for us versus you, and he scored. What a player, by the way. What a player.
He's just...
I'm a big fan.
I was excited when we signed him.
What did you?
I really liked... Well, I not really liked. I'm not going to say I was like amazing, but I seen him play bits and balls for Schalke over in Germany, and he played for Schalke, and he was good. And he was solid. Like, he went back to Everton, and I was surprised that he maybe didn't get another move over to the Bundesliga or even a move elsewhere. And he was just kind of sitting on the bench in the reserves for Everton. So when he was signed for Celtic, I was like, do you know what? This could actually be quite good. And he was very average when he first came in, but I liked him. I thought he brought a kind of, I don't know, it was something...
I remember you saying that in the chat,
it was like, I didn't think he was anything special. I wouldn't have went to the extent of saying he was particularly good, but what I did thought is he was fine. He was solid and he'd done a job. But as time went on, more and more people got annoyed with him. And then, of course, the big performance came against...
Two of
them. Yeah, the 2 big performances, and people... Safe to say, people do not like him now. And it's funny, he's going to be one of these players now that when it comes back to talking about players in a few years' time, I'll completely forget he played for Celtic. Completely forget. 6 months this season where we weren't even at the games, I will completely forget he played for the club. I think, it's hard to give it. I don't know what you think of him, because, of course, you love him for that performance. Those performances.
I mean, he actually played a massive part in Morelos' first goal versus Celtic, so he'll always have a special place in my heart, because there was no pressure on him, nobody near him, and for whatever reason, he just turned round and kicked the ball out for a... I still didn't understand. Was he trying to hit that back to the goalie? What was he doing? There was nobody on him.
I prefer not to speak.
He goes in, and then obviously he ends up winning. The other fullback, Laxalt, got absolutely roasted by Joe Rebo. The ball came in and ended up slapping it. That one is unlucky. You know what I mean? He's trying to beat Ryan Kent to the ball. I'm not going to it. But again, a goal and assist for Rangers versus Celtic. Great performances for the young fullback. But I never saw any. And again, this is one of these things where I get so annoyed when people just think, oh, because they play in the Premier League, they must be a great player. No, that's not how it works. Just because you're playing in a Premier League doesn't mean you're a sensational player. Look at Kenny. He's a perfect example.
Yeah, as I said, the only real positive, the only real positives I had of him coming here was, of course, as I said at the time, I seen him play at Schalke. It was once again though the same as what he was kind of in a sense when he first came to Celtic. He was good, but it was fine, but he wasn't like extraordinary. He was really brought in as that kind of last minute Frimpong replacement, and that's really all we got there. It was a last minute sort of panic replacement. I'm gonna go. See, the thing is, right, him and Laxalt. He pretty much played every game from when he signed to the end of the season. So I think he racked up probably about 20 appearances. Probably, I'll give him a 3 as well, because I think him and Laxalt are on par for how good / bad they are.
Yeah, I mean, I used to laugh every about Frimpong's lack of delivery into the mix, and then Kenny went, Jesus, it makes him look like Tavernier. Do you know what I mean? Like, he can't cross it. And it was interesting that he brought 2 fullbacks to the club that can't cross the ball. Yep. And then you're complaining that the balls aren't coming at the mixer. It's a weird one.
It's a Celtic way.
It's baffling. And again, there is a wee bit of that annoyance for me, because he is again came for the Premier League, and I remember everyone hyping up that he was better than this. So a wee bit of annoyance there, but I never saw anything that suggests that he should be kept at Celtic or signed at all permanently. Again, 2 massive mistakes in the biggest games that he'll play, and that is in an Old Firm. So, what did I give Laxalt, a 2? A 3?
You gave Laxalt a 2.
Laxalt's got cool hair. I'll give him 2 as well. I'll give
is that what you're going to do next time you're on holiday? Just get to bed.
Oh, mate, I'm going for it. The Ibiza grey locks. Honestly, I'm going to be sitting here like the Witcher. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, brilliant.
Oh,
brilliant.
You're telling me. Yeah, you wait to see it at football training, mate. It's going to be glorious. Just running about there. I'll get a Leeds haircut, the grey samurai.
Oh, aye. What is it, Calvin Phillips?
I mean, Hoyland's got it.
Oh, well, true. I look here and all the rest of it. I forgot about that.
The vulgar. Right, let's move away then. I'm not going to then speak about another fullback, because Jack Simpson did play 1 game at fullback, but we kind of mentioned this. He's literally played such a short amount of games, it'd be unfair to rate him. So we're not going to look at Simpson. We're not going to look at Scotty, right? Even though they did play a couple games, it's too harsh to judge. In fact, we're going to move forward to a signing that probably, I didn't understand why, and this annoys me, and I'm very interested to see what you say, but a lot of people overlook and start to question, but it's your boy Haji who was signed.
Haji.
Aye, Haji.
Finished with the most assists, didn't he?
Most assists in the Premier League, and he played 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? He was a boy that came in the squad, and I think we've just found his position now in the last couple of weeks, where again we've changed to 2 up top, because that means he's now in the middle of the park. And by God, was he glorious in there! But he led the league in assists. He had moments. He scored big goals versus St Johnstone, obviously, in the league when we needed to start picking up wins again after dropping points versus Hammond. It was important to start putting the pressure back on Hughes. He scored big goals, had big moments, still had 20, 23, 24 goal contributions in the season as well, despite a ridiculously lacking minutes compared to what people were expecting. So what I see for Haji is a game changer, and that's what Rangers needed. Somebody like him. It's not going to be involved for the entire 90 minutes, right? He's not going to run the game. He's no Ryan Kent terms injury. But if you need a moment for somebody, you give it to him, and he can help change it. And that's why he was brought into the club, and 20-odd goal contributions in his first full season is exactly why he was signed. And that's why we won the title.
I've always said the same thing about Haji. I think throughout this entire season, my views haven't changed. Technically, he's one of the best players that I think out of both the teams. He's scary. God. He's scary good when he's at his absolute best. It's just about how often you get that best, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
he's a young lad as well.
Exactly. He's a really good, really, really good player. I mean, he was getting linked with, what was it, Sevilla and Lazio in
Lazio's apparently dead. They're apparently back in, but
I seen apparently Sevilla and Lazio are interested. There's a reason, because he's really skilled, really good player. And as you've said, was it 20 goals he's contributed to?
He's got 8 goals, 15 assists. So he's 23 goal contribution.
So that's crazy for someone who I feel like is spoke about so much as if like he's not there.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I think he's just very quiet in terms of, I don't know. He's not like when Eduard gets a goal or an assist, or even a Morelos, it's like, the Morelos is scored. Like, you don't get that with Haji. It's like, Rangers scored, and by the way, it was Haji. It's like kind of on the side. Good player. I like him. I must admit, good player. It's a consistency part that kind of is annoying, isn't it? Pick up and down. If I was to give him a rating, do you know what? It reminds me a lot of El Yunusi, so I'm going to give him the exact same as El Yunusi. I'm going to give him a 6.
That's fair enough, mate. I mean, if you look at the goal scored and everything like that, but again, you're talking about consistency throughout a game. I think if Haji was able to see what he can have in a 5-minute spell where he changes the game and scores, if he has that for 90 minutes, he's not in the Scottish football. He's away playing for Real Madrid, because the players that can play that good for that long always go for mega bucks and play in those leagues. So I think you're going to have to take the good with the bad. But even again, the bad, you're seeing a young laddie with that name on the back of the shirt. Imagine trying to make that when your dad's considered like God. Jesus. Honestly. So he's came here, keeps his head down, never a problem. And he's grown as well. He's getting bulking up. And you're starting to see him putting slide challenges and everything like that, get involved and everything. So I'm excited to see. People are overlooking him, saying, oh, I'd maybe let him go in the summer if a big offer comes in. You didn't let a player like that go. You only let him go if somebody comes in and gives you an offer you can't refuse, in my opinion. So
well, if you get an offer you can't refuse, then I'd take it personally. But it's just all about it's all about what the fee is and what if it's right, if you're going to get somebody to replace him. Because it's one of those ones, I think, if he was to leave, I think then it would set in that, like, oh, he's got to be tougher than what we thought to replace, sort of thing. No, he's a good player.
You've nailed that, mate. You've nailed that. If he goes, you're losing 23 goals for that Rangers team. And again, he is the wildcard maverick that you wanted in the team last season and the season before that can change your game. So I'm going to give him I've just talked him up there. I'm thinking between I guess 7 or 8. I feel like he wasn't played. I'm going to give him a 7. Well, to be fair, Haji, when his team needed him, turned up. El Yunusi for me in big games, big moments, didn't he? So that's the way I justify it. You know what I mean? It's fine scoring a couple of goals here or there when everything's good and everything like that, and start padding when all the pressure's off you. But when the pressure was at its peak, and you're seeing moments in Europe and all that for Haji, that's where I go. He was important in that undefeated run in the group stage. He was important in some of the latter things. So he was even important in that January game where Hughes had a good 40 minutes. He came in the second half.
That's right. I forgot about that game.
He helped change that game. He was the spark and he done that. So I'm going to give him a 7 because I think there's going to be a lot more for him.
No bad. Which brings me on to my last player, and it's the player that I can finally be positive about. It's one I can finally just be happy with, and that is Mr. David Turnbull.
Oh.
You forget all about him,
to be fair. I bet that annoys you that he follows me on Twitter, but does he follow you, eh? That must drive you mental.
That's just get him to help, man. Get him to help. No, David Turnbull, what a player, man. Absolutely been the shining light of Celtic this season. And rightfully gets all this praise because he's just been so good. I love the guy. I just hope that he just stays and makes me happy. He's filled a void. I just need that after this season. Literally, it's just been this season hasn't been Celtic. It's been David Turnbull. Very few things to cheer and shout about. And I think in the long run, he already has been up there for talking about one of the best signings. But in the long run, especially as time goes on and Celtic hopefully get to being successful again, you're going to look at him as one of Celtic's best signings for so many different reasons. For what he offers you on the park and then probably where his career goes from there for the money that you should be making for him. Yeah. So for me, David Turnbull, scary good. And the only annoying thing is, see if he was playing from the start of the season, I'm not going, by the way, don't think I'm going to go here. If he was playing from the start of the season, we would have won the league. That's not what I'm going to say. If he was playing from the start of the season and he was playing the level that he did for the majority of his time starting at Celtic, I would probably have went out and just gave him a 10 because he's just unbelievably good. Of course, it took him a couple of months to get into that team because Neil Lennon just didn't want to acknowledge him.
Who was playing ahead of him, by the way? This is just me, just curious. Who was playing ahead of him?
Christie would have been the one in the middle playing ahead of him. I'm going to give him an 8.5 for now because 10 would suggest perfect. 9 would suggest just
out the bottom.
A 9 would be if he was in the team all season while having a little bit of a dip, because he dipped for a couple of games. He dipped for maybe 2 or 3 games. Didn't get really an assist or anything, but he was still very instrumental. 8.5, I think, is fair for wee Davy, and he's away to the Euros as well. So hip hooray!
I'm in a bit of an awkward situation here because I'm quite friendly. I'm quite friendly with Davy.
Better what you're saying.
I was no, he's blocked for everything. But if you look at it, I think he's serious injury in that as well. I think the way he's came back, it's always good. It's good to see a redemption story, despite him obviously being a Celtic player, getting back, getting his move, and then it was all about what does he do there. And for the first couple of months, I even said in the group, I was like, he shouldn't have went there, man. He's just they're never going to change it, but they're not going to give him an opportunity to actually play. But then he did play. and for sort of day one, he was very, very good for these. But I just think, and again, not to be overly critical or anything like that, I've not seen enough in the Old Firm games as well. If I'm honest, I think that you probably look at what was his worst games. I'd probably say they were in the Old Firm. I know he had a shot just wide in one of the games. I know he was he missed that clear-cut opportunity with the diving header, which was an absolute sitter, by the way. Beautiful. Just before we scored that second one as well. That was great. The third one, sorry. But I missed that one. But again, I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, he's been terrible and that. He's been very good for Celtic. Scores danger for set pieces as well, and he's earned the Scotland call-up. So, what you went an 8.5?
8.5.
I'll go...
What's it doing here?
It's twirling me because I'm stuck between a 7.5 and an 8. If I'm honest,
you know you want to go for that. You know you want to go for the 8.
I just didn't think I can because in the big. Because see, I put who have I got there? I've got Balogun.
I know it's annoying. It's annoying in that form. But do you know what I put down? I don't. No one.
What did he finish with? Did he finish with? Did he get any double digits for any goals or assists?
Let me just clarify that for you. Let's just see. David Turnbull. I'm sure he did for goals. For one of them, he definitely did. I'm sure he did. Right, here we go. I've got him up now. So David Turnbull this season finished the season with 39 appearances, 10 goals. It was goals. He got 10 goals, 8 assists, 18 goal contribution.
Well, he moved there to get 10, so at least he did there. Right? Got 10 goals. That's good for him. So I'm gonna give him a 7.5, and that's just because in the big games and the Old Firms, he never done nothing, in my opinion. Right. So this is where we're kind of at a disadvantage because if you're looking at it, Rangers have 2 other players. Because again, we're not going to talk about the players that just came in January, and that's going to be Zongu and it's going to be Jermaine Defoe. But I think given the lack of how much they played, I think it would be pretty easy and quite quick to sort of wrap up. So we'll leave Defoe because again, he did technically sign this. We'll leave the ageless wonder till last day. And I want to talk about Zongu because that was a player I was very excited about. I thought that was the box-to-box midfielder that was going to come in and just offer us legs. Got about an eye for a pass. And when he first came on, his first substitute appearance, we were like, he's just hit a 50-yard ball with his first touch right to the back. We're like, oh, this is going to be good. But again, I feel like his playtime was ripped away from him because of another player in our team by the name of Stephen Davis, who had an unbelievable season in the position that Zongu was brought in to play. That holding role to spring the passes. You couldn't drop Davis. Like everyone, the season before the White was gone, people saying, oh, his legs are gone. I was saying it as well because I thought, oh, he was good for the first couple, but it's starting to go now. But Jesus, the way he's played, and I genuinely think that's directly impacted Zongu's game time and how much he's played because you can't drop him. And then obviously he was involved with the COVID stuff and all that as well, the protocol. So Zongu played 17 games. He had a couple starts, one of them in Lech Poznan, which was probably his best game in terms of distribution and everything. He was very good in that game. But again, he was like Itten, subbed on at the end to see the game out. He was I think he had one time against Aberdeen where he got in between the 2 attackers, got the ball cleared away, and that's kind of what his job was, Ryan. Just get subbed on, then he mess the ball about, add his height, his physicality, and just see the game out. That's what he was pretty much used for in this season. What did you see?
The only thing that I heard about Zongu all season was my mate Scott. Shout out to Scott, massive Rangers fan. He just slagged him relentlessly. He hated him. He absolutely hated him. He thought he was rotten, and he can't wait to see the back of him. That is so. Yeah, that's the only really big impression of what I've got of Zongu.
It's very split. You'll see people say he was decent for what he'd done, his job, his role, and you have others saying he didn't do enough. But again, what were we expecting him to push Davis the way he was playing? I feel torn with this one, because Davis was unbelievable.
Then but he was at the gaff as well, wasn't he? Yeah. But he was there, so he kind of
shot himself in the foot because he could have earned his move.
That's the big one. Yep. I gave so Cedric. I was about to say Cedric Itten. Well, that's what we call him. Cedric Itten.
Scores a hat trick versus you. That's my title. YouTube title.
But Itten, I gave him a 4 or a 5, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think Zongu was as good as him in similar roles of being there to do something. It just never quite worked. And yeah, as you said, it's hard when you've got Davis playing as well, because Davis was Player of the Year caliber this year. It was insanely good. So I'm going to go. I'm doing it. I've got to be rotten for 1. I'm giving him a 2, mate.
Well, mate, I'm going to give him a 2 as well. Because I was disappointed. I wanted to see a wee bit more for Zongu. And he came in and he done a couple of wee role stuff. But if I'm being fair, or as fair as I can, throughout today's video, with some of the stuff that I've said versus you, but if I've rated El Yunusi 5, was it a 5.5 or 6?
Yes, you gave him a 5.5, I think.
I gave him a 5.5. If I'm saying that, I'm being critical of him not doing enough when he was given an opportunity, despite where he was played and when he was played. I've got to hold Zongu to that same standard. And I didn't see the player that we expected to see for the first time that he played to the last. So I dipped in again. He shot himself in the foot because he could have been playing post split. He probably should have been playing. But he done it. And then last but not least, it's going to be Jermaine Defoe, and it's quite fitting because he not only scored the last goals versus Hughes, where he set the old hero. Was it Welsh? The great hope. He put him on his arse, put away. But he also scored the last goal in the season as well. So it's quite fitting. 20 games, 7 goals, 2 assists. He played probably approximately 6.5 minutes for the entire season. He was just brought on as a sub. So this should be pretty simple. But you look at the goals, still 9 goal contributions in 20 games, despite playing in the last 15 minutes once every 3 weeks. Ridiculous.
It just says volumes about the actual calibre of play you're dealing with there. Like, everybody's never. I don't think even Celtic fans would have a cheek to it. I've not seen a lot of Bassey. I like to associate myself with intelligent people, and even though
every time you make these videos,
but no, like Defoe is one of the best players that is ever one of the best strikers ever played in England. Never mind anything else. So the calibre,
one of the best finishers as well.
One of the best players you can ask for it to come on and do a job like that. Yeah, he's not played a lot this season, which kind of takes away a little bit. But I mean, what he's done is what he's done. He's 39-year-old. Christ Almighty, can't be too critical.
Still 20 games is still no. And again, this is a mere personal thing, but I love the fact that his first thing he done when he finally won that league title was phone his mum and say we did it. That touches you in here because he's had such a long career. He's tried for so long, and it's just like
that's his first trophy, isn't
it? No, did he not win the Carlin?
No, I remember. No, I think he was part. He was like, I've seen this before. Apparently, won like the League Cup, but like I can't remember. There was something about it. Like he basically wasn't registered or something. I don't know.
Oh, really? Right. I never even knew that.
I don't know. Don't take it for 100% gospel. But I remember like reading something before. Maybe a loan out or something like that.
Maybe it was at Portsmouth that season because I know he left for a while.
So I think it was something like that. I don't think he was strictly involved with the team. I don't think he was actually like. I think it comes up as his honours, but he wasn't like there. I don't think. I can't remember what it was. I remember just hearing it somewhere. It might be me talking shite, but who knows.
Usually is, mate. It's good to see one of the good footballing guys get that kind of career storybook in because he's deserved it for what he's done for his career. And again, in terms of impact in the goals and that, he scored a couple of big goals. He obviously finished Hughes off where he took 2 E's on, put his baith down and dropped his baith, slapped it in the back of it, and then he done the exact same at Aberdeen. And brilliant for Jermaine Defoe. Again, he is the 4th choice, and people need to remember that he is the 4th choice striker. But Ryan, I've said this a couple of times in the videos. We've heard from players like Jackom, we've heard from the defenders. Jermaine Defoe off the field helps the defence so much because he says, if I'm playing and the ball's here, I'm going to go here, so you need to be here. And I think his impact off the park and helping this Rangers team mature into what it is has been vital. And that maybe outshadows or outweighs what he's actually done on the park. It's what he's done off the park for these young players, but also the Taverniers, the Goldsons, helping them along as well. So he's been a brilliant influence. So I'm going to be extremely biased because I love the boy, genuinely. And I'm going to give him more than El Yunusi. I'm giving him a 6. I don't give a shit. I'll give him a 6.
Deary me.
I'll give him a 6.
I'm going to once again go right down the middle and just give him a 5 because you can't underestimate with his influence. So I'm just going to go give him a 5.
I'm just going to put my biased cap on with that one, mate. I absolutely love the boy. I love everything about him, so I'm being extremely biased. So sue me on that one, ladies and gentlemen. But that's been it. I mean, that's an hour and 10 minutes, mate.
Oh, what a long one that is, eh?
That is it. No, that's what she said. I've been watching a lot of The Office. I do apologise.
We all have been. It's been lockdown, mate. We've got nothing else to watch.
That's true, mate. But thank you so much for coming out. It was a good laugh. Good spirit as always, mate. And I want to tell them once again they can find you on the old internet.
You can go and find me at RYAN118 on YouTube. You can probably find me through Twitter somewhere. There'll be a thread somewhere. Just type in Specky Celtic fan or something and you'll find me somewhere.
Hey, that doesn't narrow it down. Tell you that right now.
Well, I'm a pleasure to be on as always, CJ.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on and being as fair as you possibly can. And as always, I've been Jonjoe Kenny. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and bye-bye.